The Xbox Series, and in case you're looking for something new to play, on Xbox Game Pass or elsewhere, I've put together a list of the best Xbox Series X games. The best non-From Software Soulsborne game in a long while, Lies of P reimagines the story of Pinocchio by way of Bloodborne. With excellent combat, a fun and dark steampunk universe to explore, and great boss battles, Lies of P takes the sting out of waiting for Bloodborne 2, if it ever comes out. Control sees you stepping into the shoes of Jesse Faden, the newest director of the Clandestine Federal Bureau of Control, FBC, a government agency that researches and ultimately aims to control paranormal activity. But Jesse's new role has a few issues not exactly laid out in the job description, including the uprising of a paranormal force known only as the Hiss. Remedy has courted multiple difficult genres with Control. Delivering a mind-bending story evocative of True Detective and Twin Peaks is absolutely remarkable. The Bureau is an eerily beautiful place, and it looks and feels best when you throw things at enemies via telekinesis or use your powers to bend rooms around you. Thankfully, this game, which was originally released for the previous generation of consoles, runs like nothing else on the Series X. Players have a choice of two modes: Performance Mode, targeting 60 frames per second with 4K output, and Graphics Mode, targeting 30 frames per second with ray tracing, making Control not only one of the best games of the last few years but also one of the best Xbox Series X games. Assassin's Creed Valhalla launched alongside the Xbox Series X on November 10th, and it's a clear day one purchase for any of you that are after a sprawling open-world adventure to show off the capability of the new generation of consoles. Running at 4K and a stable 60 frames per second, Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks quite unlike any other game in the series that has come before it. Not only does it look stunning and feel incredibly smooth, but it also boasts wickedly quick load times that help to ensure that your journey across England's dark ages in the 9th century is frictionless. Assassin's Creed is back and better than ever. One of the greatest RPGs of all time is better than ever thanks to the graphics overhaul from The Witcher 3 Complete Edition. While fans of 4K graphics can now play the game in higher fidelity, the performance mode might be the way to go as it smooths over all the rough frame rate patches in this massive game, making this 100+ hour adventure as smooth as butter. The Far Cry series loves its villains, and Far Cry 6 features the most dastardly one yet. Dictator Anton Castillo, played by Giancarlo Esposito, rules the island nation of Yara with an iron fist. To take him down, arm yourself and build your own guerrilla uprising in this open-world, sandbox shooter. Available as a standalone purchase and through Xbox Game Pass, Gears 5 is the game you'll want to stick on once it's safe to have friends over to your house. Gears 5 launched in 2019, and the Coalition has spent much of the last year optimizing its action game for Xbox Series X, working to deliver stunning native 4K graphics and 60 frames per second performance for the game's campaign. If you've never played a Gears of War game, Gears 5 is a great place to start and undoubtedly one of the best entries into the series yet. Should your 4K TV support it, there are also 120Hz performance modes for multiplayer for a faster, more responsive experience. Don't sleep on Gears 5. While it might be a stretch to call Alan Wake underrated, it definitely didn't receive the massive audience that it deserved when it originally launched in 2010. Hopefully, Alan Wake Remastered will change that. The action-adventure game stars a thriller novelist whose wife disappears while they are on vacation. Things really start to get weird when plot points from a novel he doesn't remember writing start happening in real life. The remaster gives the wonderful written game a fresh look and adds some new secrets to uncover. It's worth playing whether you experience the original or not, and the gameplay holds up remarkably well. A sequel 13 years in the making, Alan Wake 2 delivers on so many fronts, demonstrating how much Remedy Entertainment has grown and evolved in the time since the original title arrived as an Xbox 360 exclusive in 2010. A masterfully woven narrative with an unparalleled sense of atmosphere is just the start of what makes Alan Wake 2 so great. To say too much would be to spoil the experience, and trust us, you want to go into this as unspoiled as possible, but through the mixing of live-action footage and in-game cinematics, Remedy pulled off something special that serves as the current magnum opus for the well-liked studio. Forza Horizon 5 is a true showcase of the power of the Xbox Series X, and an absolute must for console owners. Playground Games deliver stunning graphics that show off the diverse landscapes of Mexico and the vast library of cars in impressively realistic detail. With biggest open world yet, the latest entry in the Forza series gives you so many reasons to get behind the driver's seat time and again, with a wealth of different races, challenges, new social features, and updated modes. With impeccable audio design, smooth, responsive controls, and a beautiful world to speed your way through, Forza Horizon 5 sets a new benchmark for racing games of this generation. Devil May Cry innovated the character action genre with its stylish blend of sword and gun-based combat. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition shows why this franchise is still the category's king. For playable characters, Dante, Nero, V, Virgil give you multiple ways to approach your onslaughts. But the goal remains the same: kill all demons. Hi-Fi Rush might not be the game that fans expected next from the studio that gave us Ghostwire, Tokyo and The Evil Within, but with this surprise launch, we saw what Tango Gameworks is truly capable of. This action-slash-rhythm game brings in several big-name artists to complement its exciting and stylish combat, biting humor, and outstanding art direction. Since it's part of the Bethesda-published catalog, an added bonus is that it's available on Xbox Game Pass, making it an easy pick for the next game subscribers should download. This puzzler that uses its unassuming premise following the life of a small insectoid creature to tell a gripping story about life and self-evolution. The environmental puzzles revolve around carrying orbs to create some truly head-scratching scenarios, and it ultimately culminates in an experience that will engage your brain both for its puzzle mechanics and the sheer meaning of it all. Did Dead Space really need a remake? That's something we were considering as we neared the release of Dead Space Remake, given that the original only released in 2008 and is still pretty damn good. Here's the thing, Motive has done an unbelievable job. The studio has taken the underlying design of Dead Space and given the fundamentals a complete overhaul, expanding the story, deepening the characters, and making the USG Ishimura a destination that is simply stunning to get lost in. Dead Space Remake is not only one of the best Xbox Series X games, it's one of the very best horror games available right now. From Software's Elden Ring is a masterpiece in open-world game design. With an absolutely massive world teeming with secrets, scenic vistas, and an almost overwhelming amount of activities to complete, Elden Ring has been the defining game of 2022 so far. While Elden Ring sticks to the unforgiving and methodical combat that From Software's Dark Souls series is famous for, the level of freedom offered to players has wound up making it more approachable to those who may not have gelled with previous Souls games. It's easy to sink dozens of hours into Elden Ring, and even if you manage to make it to the end, Elden Ring's world beckons you to return for a new Game Plus run. Elden Ring is the first open-world game since The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild to truly capture a unique sense of player freedom and discovery. It's mightily different from most open-world games and will likely be remembered as an all-time great for many years to come. High on Life is an FPS like no other. From the brain of Rick and Morty creator, Justin Roiland, this is a sci-fi romp where you've got to save the world, and your parents, from an alien race that have released that humans are the best drug you could possibly take. Cue a planet-hopping adventure featuring your new mentor Jean, your sister, and an entire arsenal of talking weapons. Told you it was different. Destiny 2 originally launched in 2017, but as a live service multiplayer game, it's never a bad time to jump into the sci-fi epic. Destiny 2 runs in 4K at 60 frames per second on Xbox Series X and load times are drastically quicker, which is a big deal for a game that has a decent number of loading screens. Bungie has added a significant amount of content since launch, including 4 expansions. With more content still on the horizon over the next year, Destiny 2 will continue to offer new stories, optional missions, and raids. Destiny 2 has a nice chunk of content that is entirely free to play, but it's worth picking up expansions such as Beyond Light and the recent Witch Queen to enjoy the whole Destiny experience. Destiny 2 is a ton of fun whether you're playing solo, cooperatively with friends, or squaring off in arena battles at the Crucible. Grounded has really established itself as one of the best Xbox Series X games over the course of its couple of years in early access. In September 2022, the title launched in full, rounding out its story and adding even more content. This isn't the end for the Obsidian title though, with more content planned to continue the game's success in the future. It's a brilliant survival game, where you play as kids trying to exist in the wilderness that is the back garden, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style. So think blades of grass as huge forests, sandpits for deserts, and really, really big bugs. Following two well-received remakes of its second and third mainline entries, the Resident Evil franchise did the impossible. It took its most beloved entry and made it even better. Resident Evil 4 could have been a complete disaster. Trying to update such a revolutionary game has many pitfalls. Thankfully, Capcom masterfully dodged them to deliver a tense, action-packed experience that would make you believe that Resident Evil 4 actually came out in 2023 while simultaneously reinforcing why the original game from nearly 2 decades ago was so important. Hades finally released on Xbox in August, and the beloved roguelike is available to play for free for Game Pass subscribers. Unlike many roguelikes, Hades uses its structure to its narrative advantage. This starts with the protagonist Zagreus, who happens to be the god of rebirth. Played from an isometric perspective, Hades' loop sees you running through procedurally generated rooms filled with increasingly challenging enemies. The fast-paced action gameplay is an absolute joy, and it has some serious legs thanks to a plethora of different builds, including wildly different weapon playstyles and abilities. Much of the storytelling is sandwiched between runs when you converse with other Greek gods and prepare for your next attempt to escape the underworld. Combining brilliant combat with top-notch writing, Hades is a must-play game even if you typically don't care for roguelikes. Halo Infinite is a genuine love letter to what originally made Halo, as a series, the powerhouse franchise it is today. It did so while also breaking new ground for the sci-fi shooter. Opting to ditch the more linear structure of previous Halo campaigns, Halo Infinite presents players with a semi-open world set on the broken but lush ring known as the Zeta Halo. It's filled with Forerunner secrets, collectibles, banished outposts, and so much more. When you're not exploring Zeta Halo, you'll likely find yourself enthralled with the story missions set throughout the ring. Featuring a more Halo, combat-evolved style of storytelling, if you're a fan of the older games, something tells us you're going to really enjoy what the Halo Infinite campaign has to offer. On top of that, Halo Infinite comes with a full multiplayer suite that's entirely free to play, which means if you own an Xbox Series X/S, Xbox One, or a PC, you can jump in right now. Complete with a unique Battle Pass system, nearly a dozen maps, punchy weapons you know and love, and some of the series' best combat to date, Halo Infinite's multiplayer is sure to have you saying just one more match. Halo Infinite isn't just a great game, it's the best Halo's been in years. Halo is one of the most important franchises not just to Xbox, but to the gaming industry itself. So we were pretty disappointed when Halo, the Master Chief Collection launched as a broken mess. Fortunately, years of updates turned it into a glorious compilation. Enjoy the first 6 Halo campaigns, as well as a robust multiplayer mode, all in one package. CD Projekt Red's neon-soaked RPG has come on quite the journey in the last 3 years, and now it's at a place where it thoroughly deserves a spot in the top 10 best Xbox Series X games. Through multiple patches and then the major update 2.0 overhaul along with the Phantom Liberty DLC, the game is an absolute stunner that runs just as beautifully. There's never been a better time to head down to Night City. The 2D platformer genre isn't what it used to be, but that hasn't stopped Moon Studios from releasing some of the greatest entries in the illustrious genre's recent history. Ori and the Will of the Wisps took everything the first beloved game did and made it better. With a fantastic story, a breathtakingly gorgeous world, and gameplay that allows you to run, jump, and fight through any challenge thrown your way, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is an action-packed platformer that delivers on all fronts. The return of the traditional Forza Motorsport following years of the Horizon series is a triumph of the genre. Forza has long been a graphical showpiece for Xbox, rendering gorgeous cars and tracks. Motorsport is remarkably approachable for a racing game, giving you the freedom to automate the fine-tuning or dive in for a more personal touch. It's a treat for gearheads as well as casual fans of racing action, and as a first-party Microsoft Studios game, it's also on Game Pass. Blizzard's definitely still got it, because Diablo 4 is a triumph that will absorb all your free time if you let it. Its open world is huge and diverse, its soundtrack excellent, and UX hyper-refined. It's also got slick 60 frames per second performance and improvements to combat that make everything just feel so much more satisfying. No Man's Sky, much like Sea of Thieves, has improved mightily since launch. Over the course of 4+ years, developer Hello Games has released steady and substantial updates that have brought the space exploration game closer to its original, ambitious vision. No Man's Sky now features far more tangible activities, including base building and even racing vehicles across tracks in multiplayer. No Man's Sky's next-gen update allows the game to run in 4K at 60 frames per second. The performance enhancements also extend to lighting and shadows, which makes each of the randomly generated planets look even more detailed and alive. No Man's Sky is on Xbox Game Pass, so subscribers should absolutely check it out to see if they enjoy its loop. Sea of Thieves has quietly become one of the leading console exclusives for Xbox. Rare's Pirate Simulator is the ultimate expression of Xbox Live, letting you and your buddies, or randoms, should you have the patience for all manner of shenanigans, explore some truly gorgeous oceans and locales in search of fame and fortune. Sea of Thieves has been optimized for Xbox Series X, now running at 4K and 60 frames per second, and it remains a real delight. Despite releasing in 2017, the game continues to be updated and iterated upon, making it a flagship title of sorts for Xbox Series X, available, of course, as both a standalone purchase or through Xbox Game Pass. Death's Door is a wonderful isometric action game that released over the summer. You play as a small crow who is tasked with retrieving souls that were supposed to pass on. The eponymous doors you walk through transport you to different locales riddled with enemies. Though Death's Door has relatively simplistic combat, it feels incredible in motion. The dungeons are well designed and have a Zelda vibe to them, while the boss battles test your skills throughout. If you're looking for a compelling action game with a nice pick-up-and-play mentality, Death's Door is a great pick. It's one of the best indie games of the year thus far. Bethesda Game Studios has dropped its first new IP in 15 years, and it's a triumph. Starfield is a fast space RPG that really is more than just a cosmic Skyrim. Join Constellation and discover the mysteries hidden across the galaxy, make your very own spaceship, find friends and foes, and maybe even take up pirating. There's plenty to do in Starfield, and it's only getting bigger. Respawn's single-player Star Wars saga continues with this new Cal Kestis adventure. In Jedi Survivor 2, you explore tightly designed 3D platforming maps and open worlds full of characters and quests. Fans of the new High Republic stories will appreciate the plot twists. Of course, you master different lightsaber styles and use a blaster, too. Deathloop may have started life as a timed PS5 exclusive, but Arcane Studios' time loop shooter is undoubtedly one of the best Xbox Series X games available today. Steered through development by the team behind the critically acclaimed Dishonored and Dishonored 2, Deathloop sees you gearing up to assassinate 8 visionaries in a single day. Complete this tricky task and you'll break the loop, fail, and the entire cycle resets. Deathloop is a slick shooter with a distinct style and personality, making it one of the most unique games available on the platform. Better still, you can also find it in the Xbox Game Pass library. Given the prowess of IO Interactive's first 2 entries in the world of Assassination Trilogy, it's not really a surprise that Hitman 3 is an exceedingly good conclusion to Agent 47's latest arc. That said, Hitman 3 expands on the foundation of its predecessors in some surprising ways. While there aren't many maps at this time, Hitman 3 makes tremendous use of each one, giving players even more freedom to approach objectives as they see fit. New spins on the loop, including a delightful murder mystery level, make Hitman 3 feel fresh and inventive, too. In addition to tremendous level design and choice-driven gameplay, Hitman 3 does a better job of focusing on its story and the many lively NPCs that inhabit the sandbox-style levels. This is Hitman at its finest, though you should definitely play the entirety of the world of Assassination Trilogy. You can also import the levels from Hitman and Hitman 2 and play them in one place with enhancements. Psychonauts 2 is the long-awaited sequel to the 2005 cult hit, and it is easily one of the best Xbox Series X games to date. Available on Game Pass, and also on PC, this Double Fine original is an absolute delight of a platformer, full of inventive ideas and wonderfully weird ideas. Don't worry if you've not played the original either, as it offers up a handy recap before the game begins that'll get you up to speed. Trust me, if you love quirky stories and platforming games with inventive worlds, you're going to love this one. Yakuza, Like a Dragon released as a launch title for Xbox Series X with better performance, including options for native 4K or a solid 60 frames per second at a slightly lower resolution, and these visual enhancements make Like a Dragon's world more vibrant and detailed. Sega has never been afraid to take risks with the quirky and moving Yakuza franchise, and Like a Dragon takes the biggest risk in franchise history by moving away from beat-em-up combat in favor of a turn-based RPG system. The change funnels in from the personality of the new protagonist Ichiban Kasuga. Ichiban's mind often wanders, and he sees himself as a hero ripped out of Dragon Quest. This, in turn, shifts enemies into silly beings that are fought using an old-school turn-based system. Ichiban's personality is infectious, and the party-based system leads to some of the best interpersonal moments in franchise history. Yakuza, Like a Dragon may play wildly differently than previous entries in the series, but it still has all of the heart and charm that have kept fans coming back for more. The role-playing video game emerged from the dream of being able to go on a Dungeons & Dragons-style adventure with the convenience and immersion that only video game consoles and computers can offer. Perhaps no game has better captured that fantasy than Baldur's Gate 3. Complete with a built-in DM, story-altering player choices, and front-facing D20 rolls, not to mention the ability to play cooperatively with your friends, Baldur's Gate 3 is the electronic D&D experience players have been waiting decades for, and delivers one of the greatest RPGs in recent memory. Admittedly, It Takes Two won't exactly melt your GPU with its graphical intensity. Is it a nice-looking game with a whimsical, fairy tale tone and graphics to match? Yes, most certainly. But you need to play It Takes Two, with a friend or loved one either on the couch or via online play, of course, since It Takes Two cannot be played alone, because it is simply one of the best and most unique multiplayer experiences you can find these days. Writer-director Joseph Fares, yes, he of F*** the Oscars fame, follows up the equally excellent A Way Out with this story about a failing marriage that might just be able to be saved thanks to the couple being turned into children's dolls and forced to work together to find their way back to their human forms. Play it, and we promise you'll smile. There's more to Tunic than meets the eye. On the surface, it looks like a cutesy adventure which stars an adorable fox. And while the fox is indeed adorable and the visual design is entirely cute, the underlying framework of Tunic is pretty unforgiving. It takes the style of 2D The Legend of Zelda games and mixes it with the combat fundamentals of the Dark Souls series, making for a challenging game that you'll delight in bashing your head against. With a weird world that you'll fall in love with and challenging encounters that'll test your reactions, Tunic is a must-play. With Mortal Kombat 1, the famously bloody fighting game finally breaks free of its infamously stiff gameplay mechanics. Thanks to high-flying air combos and creative tag-team cameo fighters, one Malawian Kwacha is as fun to play as it is for horrified onlookers to watch. The package also includes a cinematic story mode that reboots the Mortal Kombat universe and an Invasions mode packed with live service content. Already one of the best fighting games in recent memory, Mortal Kombat 11 is even more impressive on the powerful Xbox Series X hardware. Featuring 4K resolution and new visual flourishes, the gruesome action on screen is rendered in a ridiculous amount of detail. The base game already had an ample amount of content, including multiple single-player modes and competitive multiplayer. The Ultimate Edition tosses in the Aftermath story expansion and combat packs including 12 additional fighters. Mortal Kombat 11 is one of those rare fighting games that balances solo and multiplayer content well, and it's also the type of fighter that's appealing to both casual players and die-hard fans alike. Microsoft Flight Simulator can often feel like a window into a different world. From the comfort of your living room you can travel to any corner of the globe in some of the most impressive airplanes ever designed. Microsoft Flight Simulator is a genuine wonder, regardless of whether you're playing with a controller or if you've made the investment in one of the best joysticks for flight simulators. If you're curious, give this one a try on Xbox Game Pass and see if you're into it. Microsoft Flight Simulator can be challenging, given the complexity of the simulation, but there's no better feeling than soaring through the skies once you get the hang of it all. So, did you like the games I recommended? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel to follow me and activate the bell because I post a lot of videos on this channel and you can't miss it. I would like to remind you that in the description we have a list of different products that can make your gaming experience much better. If you want to buy, the link will be in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for following me this far, and until next time, bye.